Orvonon is described in the Urantia Book as the great spiritual leader and enlightener of the Indigo races on ancient Urantia. In the early isolation of the African continent, the Indigo peoples made little advancement until the days of Orvonon, when they experienced a great spiritual awakening. Orvonon taught these tribes the worship of a supreme deity whom he called the God of Gods. Under his leadership, the Indigo race was inspired to seek this highest god above all others. This marked a profound spiritual awakening for a people who had previously languished in cultural stagnation. Orvonon's ministry had a lasting, though fading, impact on the Indigo peoples. The Urantia Book notes that while later generations almost entirely forgot the God of Gods proclaimed by Orvonon, they did not entirely lose the desire to worship the unknown. In fact, the reverence for an unseen, ultimate God persisted in Africa as a form of primitive worship for tens of thousands of years after Orvonon's time. At least they maintained a form of worship up to a few thousand years ago. This suggests that Orvonon's legacy was the planting of an enduring seed of faith in a single ultimate deity among the Indigo tribes, even though the details of his teaching eventually degenerated into vague tradition. Importantly, Orvonon is one of a handful of extraordinary teachers from Urantia's prehistory who markedly influenced and inspired a whole race. The book explains that it only mentions such outstanding leaders like Orvonon because collectively those saving influences prevented the total collapse of cultural civilization during the long ages of darkness between the planetary rebellion and the later Adamic epoch. In Orvonon's case, his spiritual leadership kept alive the concept of a supreme god and the practice of worship among the African populations, mitigating spiritual loss even as material progress remained limited.
One distinctive aspect of Orvonon's ministry was his reference to the Creator as the God of Gods. This phrase signifies that he taught the Indigo race about one ultimate God who reigns above all lesser gods. According to the account, Orvonon proclaimed this God of Gods to his people, leading them away from crude superstition and toward a form of primitive monotheism. Even though much of Orvonon's doctrine was later forgotten, the Urantia Book emphasizes that the yearning to worship a higher deity, an unknown god beyond their former nature-fear deities, remained as a direct result of Orvonon's influence. In Urantia Book terms, Orvonon's introduction of the God of Gods was a crucial step in uplifting the spiritual consciousness of the Indigo race, fostering the idea of a singular divine authority in a culture that had known only fear of natural forces and multiple spirits. In recognition of his significance, Orvonon's destiny after his earthly life included appointment to a high honor. He became one of the 24 planetary counselors on Jerusalem, the headquarters world of our local system. According to the Urantia Book, these 24 counselors were assembled by the authority of Michael of Nebadon, Christ, after his final bestowal on Urantia. Around 1900 years ago, shortly after Jesus' departure from Earth, the 24 surrounding seats were placed in position on Jerusalem, creating a special advisory body of human personalities to represent Urantia's interests. The Urantia Book explains that these 24 counselors have been recruited from the 8 Urantia races, comprising the most outstanding spiritual leaders of each lineage and epoch of Urantia's history. They serve as personal agents of the Sovereign Son, Christ Michael, in system affairs, especially concerning the mortals of the isolated worlds. Orvonon is explicitly named in this distinguished group. He is listed as number 8 of the 24 counselors, described as Orvonon, the Enlightener of the Indigo races, and their leader in the one-time service of the God of Gods. This title encapsulates his earthly role, guiding the black race in the worship of the one God. Being included among the Jerusalem 24 signifies that Orvonon achieved a level of spiritual progress and leadership recognized by the universe administrators. alongside other luminaries such as Onagar, the earliest teacher of primitive man, Mansant, a post-rebellion teacher, Onamanalantan, leader of the Red Race, and even Adam and Eve. Orvonon's wisdom and service were deemed vital to Urantia's spiritual heritage. His presence on this council means that he continues to serve Urantia's spiritual progress from Jerusalem, helping administer and advise on the planetary resurrection and ascension plans on behalf of Christ Michael.